3, this isn't even best of 5. By that game 3, it looked like he had all of Edwin's defensive options down lock. That first stock, he got that pin. That second stock, he knew it was going to happen again, and he got that same pin, closing it out so early. Just a dominant showing from Frozen in that game 3. And it looks like now we're going to be moving on to the other match in loser's bracket. This is going to be HelpR versus Sinji.
We once again have another House of 3000 members sitting up. House of 3000's own HelpR versus Deadly Alliance Sinji. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, Sinji is regarded within not just North America, but I'd say on a global scale, regarded as the best Pac-Man these days.
Oh, yes.
Outside of a few niche picks, such as Alexio, and I think there's like 2 Japanese Pac-Man. One of them is T. There's another one who I think is a recent addition to that list of like those world-class Pac-Man. But Sinji has really put in the time and effort to push this character to its limits. And this is a particularly baneful matchup for Pac-Man. So to see Sinji face off against a character that he's groans on the inside for, we'll see how he manages up against HelpR's unorthodox approach.
Yes, he actually told me how he's kind of had to run the Cloud Gauntlet this tournament. He was knocked into losers by Ralphie, you know, another Cloud main. So he's maybe getting a little bit of a character run back here. See if he can take out HelpR, piloting the same character, but in a very different style.
Game 1 taking us to Town and City is a very interesting choice, but I kind of like it. It's going to give a lot of room for HelpR to move around. However, Pac-Man has all of the tools in the world to be able to control this space effectively, though it's going to take a lot of precision from Sinji and how well he's going to just be able to assess the situation so that he can lock down HelpR's movement.
Yeah, so also I was actually talking to Sinji. He was asking, like, what stage do I go to? What stage do I ban against Cloud? And he kind of agreed that Town and City might actually be a surprisingly good counterpick against Cloud. He has the room to move around, although there is that smaller blast zone on top. Clouds in general nowadays don't even kill off the top nearly as much as they used to, now opting for back airs and cross slashes. So, you know, Pac-Man maybe even getting that lucky up smash might be able to close out an early stock here.
And, you know, on top of the ability of just making sure the stage remains even more volatile thanks to its small blast zones, I feel like the 3 formats of Town and City just overall benefit Pac-Man's movement and pressure game more. We have the pseudo-Final Destination phase with no platforms, which it's generally regarded that Final Destination is Pac-Man's best stage. On top of that, the double platform layout we see currently in the city section allows for Pac-Man to be able to neutralize a lot of that lateral movement options that you were mentioning Clouds have been opting for as of late.
And right now, though, Sinji being put in a bad spot. He's been playing neutral very well, finally getting that apple, but it's not going to be the kill just yet. And now Sinji's at this dangerous percent. Forward tilt almost doing it, actually. And this is where the fear starts to really set in. Pac-Man definitely one of the struggles, maybe the most in this entire game with getting kills. And oh, he knows how dangerous that apple is. He uses it himself. And he knows that one proper snipe from HelpR can mean his stock, which means that he would have to be making a comeback.
This is a doubly good play from HelpR because not only has it given him the opportunity to neutralize a lot of Sinji's approaches, but he was able to safely charge up his limit and prevent Sinji from getting any other bonus fruit. The bonus fruits can only be live once at a time while they're on screen. And the apple taking 54 frames to charge up, that's a whole second that Sinji just sort of has to lose to HelpR. However, Sinji taking the first blood, now a bit more infamous for his play. We're going to see him turtle a little bit and use a lot of this pressure game from Pac-Man that we've come to know to just camp out as best as he can. However, Cloud a particularly difficult character to camp. Even sitting at 138%, Sinji can wait around all he wants, but waiting is just going to make Cloud stronger. It's going to give HelpR a lot more time to get his limit and expend it immediately using Limit Climb Hazard to net a kill, only with 28% on board.
Yeah. I also want to quickly, just before we actually saw this moment where while HelpR had invincibility, he tried to charge up this up smash, and Sinji did an up B that actually canceled, even though he was invincible because he popped on the trampoline. I thought that was a really cool thing worth noting. And right now, this is the thing about Sinji. He spent all of these time labbing out these low percent combos with Galaxian and just all of the fruit. And he's so good at racking up this early damage. But when he gets to the higher percents, that's where, you know, he has to go for these somewhat inconsistent kill setups. So let's see if he can maybe this time around kill Cloud before it's like 150, because you definitely don't want to give that sort of opportunity of second chances to a player like HelpR.
As Cloud begins to climb into these higher percentages, those combo-oriented bonus fruits like the Galaxian ship that you had mentioned start to become much less useful, and we're going to start seeing a lot more utility from the Bell, the Key. Orange is also an incredibly good edge-guarding tool against Cloud because it's a lateral projectile. It comes out relatively quickly, and the lateral game is what you want to be playing, but it's going to be a kill off the top that allows Sinji to net game 1.
That was such a good bait. He goes there up to that platform. HelpR maybe a little bit, you know, when Clouds love to pressure people on those platforms with that up air, you know, his just overall huge hitboxes. Sinji, like, just being one step ahead, he jumps up and is able to snipe down with that apple. It doesn't matter how big his disjoints are when he's able to, you know, hit him from so far away like that.
Yeah, Cloud's an impressive character. He's got amazing hitboxes, amazing frame data. This is a character that just wants to bully you day and night, and Pac-Man is one of those subjects of bullying. However, Sinji showing that with enough time in the lab and dedication to the character, you can make any bad matchup work. That being said, he is going to have to work his way hard as we sit in Dreamland for Game 2, as the triplat formation of Dreamland works fantastically in Cloud's favor. It allows him to pressure so well. He could sit center stage and control the entire stage thanks to his up air and neutral air. And the lowered ceiling, I feel, is going to help the HelpR, particularly more than Sinji.
Yes, in addition, the smaller size overall means that, you know, Sinji just has a little less room to run around. But now, actually, we are seeing Sinji with a bit of a deficit, 60% to 43. Even though it may not be huge, it does mean that Sinji is forced to approach. But actually, Sinji doing all these really nice approaches, surprisingly aggressive. We don't normally see that from him. But, all right, now that he has the lead, he's starting to slow it down a bit. But, you know, he's not afraid to push buttons if they're the right buttons.
Yeah, HelpR's not too happy with the fact that he just got opened up with the whole fruits basket. So having already utilized the orange bonus fruit and now trying to make some use out of the fire hydrant, but one thing that I'm always telling people when you have to fight a Pac-Man, if you know you're fighting Pac-Man, have an understanding of your attacks and how they interact with the fire hydrant. Because if you could use that as a potent hitbox against Pac-Man, you're further neutralizing his tools. We see HelpR manage to take off that first stock with a forward smash, but a rather gutsy move. And sitting at dangerous percentages, Sinji can easily tie this up. But we'll see how HelpR manages to push the momentum into his favor.
Yeah, and actually, as we've seen already, one of the surprisingly hard things for Pac-Man in this matchup seems to be the edge guarding. Normally, that's Cloud's weakest aspect. Ooh, but let's see if he can complete this edge guard here. Yeah, that's going to be it. No jump means no way of getting back. And still a lead for HelpR, but definitely what looks like it might, you know, it looked like he might looked like he was going to run away with that match, but now Sinji has some life in him, especially because we know the low percent combos that he can manage to do. That's another thing I'll briefly mention is, actually I've heard that apparently Sinji loves it when people try to grab his fruit, because when they try to grab his fruit and hold onto it, people don't really know how to use Pac-Man fruit. So usually it just ends up limiting their options, and even though he doesn't have access to it, we're seeing that every time this match where HelpR like grabs the Galaxian, it actually ends up still being a neutral win for Sinji because he's able to predict the timing of the throw and everything.
Yeah, in order to effectively neutralize bonus fruit's influence on the field, you have to either throw it in a manner that it stays live, but isn't anywhere Pac-Man can retrieve it, or, and what I mostly recommend, consistently Z-dropping it whenever performing aerials. That way you could have that aerial hitbox active, but the projectile itself is just floating around you. You could re-grab it at any point, and it just presents a larger hitbox to approach with. And certain items like the Bell bonus fruit that's in hand offer a lot of combo potential because of the paralyzing effect that it has.
Yeah, but like as you saw there, HelpR had that bonus fruit in hand. You could tell that he wanted it, but he took so much percent, and
yo, another kill off the top. All right, an apple a day's keeping HelpR away. Sinji managing to move a little bit deeper into the losers bracket. HelpR shaking his head. He's not too happy with that, but hey,
that's a top 8.
That's a pretty solid W for Sinji. He's moving into Quite the killers losers bracket.
Oh yeah, I believe next he's going to be fighting Frozen. No, actually, he's going to be fighting the loser of the next match, I believe, that we're about to see.
All right.
So, yep.
As we're pulling up the bracket, for those of you who are watching,